Morning guys, Erica here from Highway 49 RC. If you want to help support the channel and support me in making the videos that I do, consider becoming a member of the channel. For a small monthly donation, that goes directly to me, and then I can fund more cool projects and awesome builds. Anyways, today's video is going to be a motor rebuild. I'm going to be rebuilding this Trinity Speed Gems Pro Nitronite. It's a 12-turn double motor. It's in really good condition. The sticker looks great. The end bell is pretty clean. You're just gonna have to clean off a little bit of solder, of course. Not a whole lot of dirt and crap. The commutator looks really nice. These end bell styles, you can actually see the comm, which is one of my favorite things about these ones, is how easily you can see the comms. But yeah, this should be a pretty fun one to rebuild. But I not only have one, I actually have a brand new one here also. I've got two of these Speed Gem Pro Nitronites. Both of these motors came as a bundle deal with, I think, 4 other motors that altogether was an absolutely killer deal. Normally I wouldn't buy a brand new one for my collection, but I mean, it was a great deal. I can totally resell this later on and make most of my money back, so that will be awesome in the future. Or if I decide that I like running this one in my touring car, I can keep one for the collection and one for display. But with that, let's go ahead and jump right into tearing this motor apart. Let's start, of course, as usual, by taking off the brush springs, using my red on the right methodology to keep things in order. It's a good way to do it so you don't lose track of your parts. Pull the brushes out of their hoods. They look super nice, pretty much brand new, so those don't have to be changed out, which is good. Now these are soldered on, so I think I will just leave those on there for now. Probably just give them a little brush with the brass brush, just clean up the hoods a bit once we get to that point. But let's go ahead and pull the hoods and heat sinks off. Now the last Speed Gems Pro motor that I rebuilt, as you remember, we discovered these little guys, these integrated surface mount caps in the end bell. Now these are so freaking tiny. You've got to be super careful with them when I'm taking them out. See, look at that. That one just came flying right out of there. Get the spring out of here. The spring just applies pressure to the cap between the two hoods. Put that there for right now. Now we can go ahead and take off the end bell. So this guy is a little spring that holds the 2 caps between each brush hood and the can against the brush hood, basically. There we go. Okay, now there are some shims in there that I want to be careful not to lose. So I'm gonna put these on this side. Put the end bell over here. Pretty dirty in there, but nothing, just a little bit of cleaner and spray won't clean off. And now we can pull the armature out. Note to self, don't get magnetic tweezers. It makes getting the bushings or the shins out of the can and end bell a real pain because they just stick. Let's get you guys a close-up on that commutator because I know that's what y'all are interested in. Looks quite nice. No chips really on the edges of the segments, so that's really good. Looks like there's plenty of life left on this. Should only take probably 1 or 2 light passes to get it all cleaned up. With the motor fully disassembled, I'm going to take a few minutes and get all the parts cleaned up. For those wondering what I use for cleaner, I use this CRC LiQWYD contact cleaner. It works pretty good. It's plastic safe and doesn't leave a residue, so it works pretty well for this, considering the end bell is plastic, and you know, I want to make sure everything's nice and clean. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Alrighty, all of our parts are nice and clean. The inside of the end bell was actually pretty darn dirty. I was kind of surprised actually for how clean the rest of the motor was. I also got all the solder off of this guy, so that is all clean and good to go. Now we get to move on to my favorite part of the motor rebuild, which is turning the comm. Oh yeah. I'm going to be doing my comm cutting over here today because there's something over on the electronics bench that is a bit of a secret right now that I don't want you guys to see yet. Now, if you tuned into my last stream, I think it was a couple months ago now, you guys will know what that is, but if not, you guys will just have to wait and see. Let's get this silly band on here. Okay, nice. Grab some com drops, not com drops, I guess, com cutting fluid. It's basically just lubricant for the shaft here. This little dropper bottle, because the needle is so thin, it gets dried up in there. So I gotta heat it up with a lighter real quick and get that flowing. Get my power supply set up properly as well. It'd help if I plugged it in. Should be good. All right, I think we're ready to go. I was so excited I forgot to press record. Some say that the Sharpie acts as a lubricant. It also marks the commutator so that you know when your tool touches it, like so. I don't know how much I believe the lubrication part of it, but there may be some truth to it because it does seem to cut nicer when I have the Sharpie on the comm. Ah, okay, look at that. Commutator is rather out of round, or at least not concentric. This one segment is much lower than the rest of them, it looks like. Interesting. Okay, getting closer. That's good. And I would say that looks absolutely perfect. While it's still hanging out in there, I'm going to grab my ballpoint pen, roll over the edges of the comm segments. This is just so that they don't catch the brush or chip it. And then grab my X-Acto knife and just clean out any filings and crap that may still be in between the segments there. There you go. Nice freshly cut comm. I'm going to clean off any extra shavings and the oil a little bit. The last thing to do now before getting everything reassembled is to lube up my bearings. This is some Trinity perpetual motion bearing oil. I like to just use a pencil and put it in the bearing, and I can just spin the can, an endbell on it. That is a super smooth bearing right there. I mean, I really think this motor has not been run before, because that is crazy smooth. Let's see if the end bell can say the same. Dab a little bit of oil in there. Oh yeah, that's also super smooth. Well, actually, oh, I take that back. That was a little bit gritty. It didn't want to spin at first. Yeah, okay. Admittedly, not great. I'll keep working this in a little bit and we can start putting this motor back together. It is now time for the quote fun task of getting all these little capacitor related components put back into the end bell. They're all just so freaking small. Okay, should be able to put the heatsink and hood on this side now. As long as everything stays where it belongs. Perfect. Success so far. Put that little cap in there, right between the two. And then this little one goes down here against the bottom of the heatsink and brush hood. Okay. Carefully now, careful. Heatsink. Oh, that's not on there. No, stay in there. Go on, okay. No, oh, okay. Let's try this again. Oh, you know what? Somebody, I don't remember who it was, suggested a dab of dielectric grease, I think, to hold those in there. And that's a great idea, except that I don't have any dielectric grease. which is a bummer, but I will have to get some just for this purpose. Oh, okay, I think I got it. I think I got it, guys. That guy there. Which side? This side is this one. Okay, did we get it? I think we got it, guys. Yep, looks like we got it. All right, great. Okay, now we can get the end bell situated on the can. Grab a shaft and my brush hood alignment tool, which is right here. These are P94 brushes, so I get to use the bigger side. Slip that in there, my shaft down the middle. Oh, wrong side. This way. There we go. Now what this is doing is just making sure that the brush hoods and brushes are going to be nicely aligned with the motor shaft. Now, this is a good starting point, and this is good for most purposes. However, I have read that because the brushes don't actually fit inside the brush hoods perfectly, as the motor rotates, it skews the brush off to one side. So you can get, I think, slightly better performance out of it by actually skewing your brush hoods slightly one way or another. I really don't care, because this is just going to be a display motor for my collection, so I'm not going to bother with that. But that is a caveat to what I'm doing here. All right, that should be good. Everything's snugged down. It's still a little tight, but I'll live with it. It'll work for now. All right, great. Pull all this stuff back out, take our end bell back off, and we can get the armature put back in. First though, I want to get my shims on there properly. My fiber one on first, and come here, the metal one on that end, and this side just had the one, oh no, there's two little brass ones on this end. Okay. Go ahead and shove that down in the can, like so. Perfect. Pop our end bell on. Get that swiveled around to 0 timing, like that. Tighten down our end bell screws. Put our brushes back in, and I think that'll be it, guys. So I know we just got this motor rebuilt, but as I was editing, I actually remembered that I bought some eyelets to put on solder-on brushes, because some of these motors have soldered-on brushes, like the Nitronite here. And I'm not a fan of that, because they are not very interchangeable. If they go bad, I gotta like unsolder them, and if I'm somewhere that I can't unsolder them, that's a problem. So I found these tiny little eyelets that I can just crimp on myself. So I'm gonna pull the motor back apart real quick and do that. I don't know if I'm gonna do this very often or how often I will do it, just because this is not how it came from the factory. So if I'm really looking to make it just like the factory, I would leave them soldered on. But at the same time, I hate solder-on brushes. They're just a pain in the ass. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. There we go. That's cleaned up pretty good. Just going to give it a brush, get some of that flux gunk off of there. Good enough. I'll do the other side, and then we can crimp on those eyelets. Okay, I've got my eyelet slightly squished in my crimp tool there, just so it hangs out there while I get the brush lead inserted. See if this works. I think that worked out nicely. And there, it didn't quite get the entire thing just because the crimpers are only so wide that I have. But, yeah, definitely not going to slip out, so that's good. Let's do the next one. Because the end of the brush still has some solder on it, I need to, like, squish it down flat so there's no, like, pointy spots so it'll actually go in the eyelet properly. So that should be pretty good. Just grabbing another eyelet out of the bag here. Okay, there we go. That's partially set in there. And now I can put the brush in the other side. Let's do it. And that looks perfect. Awesome, not gonna come loose. I will get this back on the motor and give you a close-up when it's done. All right, there it is, folks. I took and bent up the eyelets a little bit just so that they fit, because they're slightly longer than some of the other brush eyelets on, you know, like factory-made brushes. I also actually redid these. This is the second time I crimped them on here because there was a little bit of extra solder making the shunts stick out a little far and not really allowing the brush to get all the way in there properly. So I just trimmed it off, re-crimped them, and they look great. Oh yeah. These are really shitty alligator clips. There you go, guys. Check that out. And there you have it, guys. Our Trinity Speed Gems Pro Nitronite is fully rebuilt, ready to go. I'm really looking forward to testing this out in my touring car to see how I like it. It's a 12-turn double versus the motor that I normally use is a 19-turn single. Single. The Speed Gems Pro Arcanite is the one I typically run. This one, as well as the Kryptonite, because I have a second Kryptonite as well, new in the package. So we'll have to give these guys a test in comparison to the Arcanite one of these days. But yeah, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I love motor rebuilds. I hope you like them as well. If you did enjoy, please leave a big fat thumbs up. If this does happen to be the first video that you have seen by me, go down, smash that subscribe button, leave a comment down below as well. Make sure you go check out my Instagram at HighWay49_RC, join my Discord server, support me on Patreon, and become a member of the channel to support what I do and help make videos just like this one. All the links, of course, are going to be down in the description below, as always. So thank you again so much for watching. That's all I gotta say. I'll see y'all in the next one.